Hi guys, this is going to be a relatively short episode. I'm not feeling very well today, and this didn't make me feel any better. Uh, I had a complication, a pretty big complication. The spool, my filament spool, knotted, and so I just kept trying to feed filament, and it couldn't do it, because it was knotted, but because it was knotted, it couldn't, because I have a sensor that lets me know when that stops the printer when there's no more filament. Because it was knotted, it couldn't continue feeding through, so it just kept printing blank layers with no filament. And I was at work at the time. I had just gotten back just shortly after it started. If I had gone, I left early from work. Like I said, I wasn't feeling well, so I gotten back just shortly after, but unfortunately not soon enough to be able to catch it, change out the filament and everything. So it just started printing empty layers. So 30 hours, 34, 35 hours of work, gone. So it's disheartening for sure. Most of this print was honestly, like, to print this, it's not that much. You can see how thin it is. It's not that much. This itself shouldn't have taken as long to print, but it was printing a lot of support material around it because I had it setting up like this so that it could print more easily. It print faster. It'd be printing a lot faster this way than it would be laying down. So having it standing up like this was the optimal way to print it. I was printing it also a little slight angle, so I wouldn't have to have so much supports throughout it. So I was printing it like this. It's I said, it didn't make me feel any better, but it's not going to stop me from making anything. It just bummed me out today, so I didn't really want to work on anything. I didn't really want to set up a new print right now. I will be printing. I'm going to switch this to the back end. I wanted to print the major pieces, the longest pieces first, get them out of the way, the ones that were going to take the most material and everything else. I'm switching this to the back, this piece and the back piece, so the chest plate, to the end, and I'll start printing other things first. Scale-wise, there's a silver lining to this, because scale-wise, this is a little bit big. I mean, I would have made through if it had finished, but this is a little wide. So I'm not gonna. So as you can see, there is some gap. Sorry, I don't have a mirror or anything. Well, I have a mirror, but I don't feel like moving it. It is a little wide on my torso, so. Like I said, this was designed for someone who is 5'10" at 185 pounds. I'm 5'11" at around 140 to 150. So I was expecting there to be some size difference, but there's a little bit more than I would like. So I guess it happened. I'm glad it happened now before it happened like 10 days from now when both pieces are printed. I'm going to do one of two things, because in the last video I showed you guys the in-game armor set that I had made future plans to convert. I may do that sooner in the meantime while everything else is printing, and print that for the chest plate, because I do really like how detailed that chest plate is. Or I'll just rescale this and, like I said, print it after everything is done. Rescaling this means I have to rescale the rest of the pieces of the armor. That's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal, rescaling everything else. So I'm going to do probably the calf segments first. I'll print off a little bit of a couple layers, so I can get a figure on how big it's gonna be, and then I'll rescale it accordingly. Because I don't want to repeat of this. I thought it would be fine based on what the scale was supposed to be, But also after comparing it to the scaling up the in-game armor to match the same size as this armor, I realized that the in-game armor fits a lot better than this. So it has a little bit more of organic form and shape. This a little bit. So I'll be playing around the scale. I'll probably end up kicking off that print today because I do want to get this done in a timely fashion, and I do want to keep to a schedule. I don't want to procrastinate it. So that's a bad habit form. So where's my thingy? There we go. So like I said, it really bummed me out, but I'm gonna keep going. I won't do a video for the start of that print, whatever I print next, but I will do like an interim video or anything. My hands in the shot. I will do some sort of interim video. I'm still streaming it. I'll still be streaming at night. So 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. on my Twitch. Link to that below. So you guys can check it out and watch the print. He said 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. I got my Bondo in, so I'll be able to start doing the sanding on this helmet. I'm not going to do a lot, like I said. I'm probably going to do the visor. So I'm going to Bondo the visor because the visor is the biggest part. Pretty much not going to do anything else to it. It doesn't really need it. So one thing I talked about was like my layer heights, where I was printing at a 0.3. I'm getting some issues with this because I should probably change the nozzle. Because I did print the rest of the helmet before I started printing this, and that was a big piece. Oops. So I had to reprint this several times for the same issue with the knotted spool. So I'm gonna. You see scratches, but I'm just doing some sanding on it so I can fit the pieces better. I still need to print out the main segment because I still need to sand this area and this area. Pretty much all the pieces fit the way they should, so it's not a big deal. Alright, I'm yawning. Like I said, I wasn't feeling well, so I just woke up like an hour ago. I got off work around 3 o'clock, came home, downed like half a bottle of NyQuil, and then I get chronic migraines, and sometimes they cause me to get nauseous. So passed out, woke up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm eating me something, and then. I'll be doing the rescaling on the pieces and print them out, and get started on the print. Like I said, I'll start with the calf armor first, just because I kind of want to like wear them to work. This turned out well with what was printed. It turned out well with the 0.3. You can see the layer lines are super thin because that was the only thing I changed about my settings was the layer height, and that drastically decreased the print time. So, I mean, you get some, like I said, there are some layer issues, but again, that's because I need to change out the nozzle again because I run it for too long on certain settings, so I just got a crap ton of nozzles. I was going to give it some downtime in between, but it's hard to change out the nozzle when pausing the print because I can't move the printer head. I can't raise it at all any further than what it does when you pause the print. It raises it a little bit. I can't raise it any further than that, otherwise it'll end the print entirely for some reason. If you move anything off of where its origin, off of where it was paused at, then I can't even cool it. I thought I could cool it down while it's paused, but you can't. So it means that alone defeats the purpose of me pausing the print in the first place, because the printer doesn't actually cool off, which is part of the heat, the constant heat on the extruder on the printing nozzle softens it up as the filament pushes through and it causes corrosion. So having those long prints just corrodes the nozzle too much, and you get those weird extrusions. Also, the plastic burns inside. Any plastic residue filament inside the nozzle causes it to burn and gunk up the nozzle. I do have brushes, special brushes to clean it out, but at this point in time, it's just easier just to replace the nozzle because they're so cheap. So I'll change out the nozzle. I'll get started on the print tonight for the rest of the pieces. So I want to do some rescaling. Not too much scaling. I only need to scale it down a little bit. I'm thinking probably 96% scale. 96% of its current scale. And that should be good. I just need to bring it in about half an inch to an inch on each side. So I'm doing a global scale. So I'm not just going to scale on one axis. I am going to scale it on all axes. Now, mind you, with how thin this is, because like I said, this is super thin. This is like half or less the width, like the actual shell width, than what this helmet was designed with. This helmet was designed to be thicker. So it's about that thick, and then this is about that thick. So see the light. So the walls are about that thick. This is about that. So I can use a heat gun to reshape this. Easy. Heat it up, reshape it to fit my form better. And it should all, and then it'll all be, everything will be well. Although I do like how it turned out. I said I want to see how the rest of it turns out. So I'll do rescaling on everything. If I convert the files, I'll let you know. I'll show those off. I'll show off the sculpts because I'll have to use the normal map because you can't directly use the normal map for, like, say, into a program like ZBrush and use the normal map to generate detail. You could if you used a displacement map, which is designed for that. But converting your normal map to a displacement map is almost not. It can be done. It's not really something that you would do. It can be done, but it's also not very worth it because there's information that a displacement map have that just isn't in a normal map. Normal map basically it's like it's basically a map that's designed to reflect light in a way that fakes detail, but it doesn't have things like depth information or anything like that. It's just basically just the angle at the angle of your high-res geometry when it's baked down, the way light reflects off the normals, and creates those effects. Creates that illusion of detail. Whereas you can use a displacement map, which, like a bump in a displacement map, which would actually displace the geometry to form those shapes. But like I said, a normal map, you can't really. It's missing. It doesn't have that kind of information that the other map would have, so I can't use that. But I can use the normal map from the game models as a guide, sculpt on, so that I can have that. I can sculpt in that detail. Based off of the normal map, kind of like a drawing on a piece of paper, and I'm tracing it to sculpt in the detail. So that's something simple to do. So it'll take a bit of a time because it is a very detailed piece. So I'll be sculpting it. I also have to do some. I will have to modify the base mesh some as well because I will have modified base mesh because it isn't. If I smooth it, I do lose some of those edges. So there is some supporting geometry that I would like to have in the base mesh itself. before I start sculpting the detail, so I will have to modify the model a little bit to give some of that more support for the geometry, and then I'll bring it in, smooth it, and sculpt it to get the high res. And I honestly, the reason why I kind of don't want to do that right now is because that piece is extremely detailed, considered to is extremely detailed, as is all the other pieces of the armor. They're far more detailed than the armor that I'm printing now. I have a deadline. I do want to get this done before South by Southwest, and RTX at the latest. I do want to get all of that done soon, so that's why I'm not like saying, well, I'll table this, wait till I finish the conversion and convert the entire armor set, and then print it then. So I probably won't be using, so I'll probably continue to use this because I do want to just keep the same level of detail across the entire set of armor. This is more detailed than this piece already, but the helmet is always going to be a little more detailed because it's the drawing, it's a defining factor, whereas just kind of like the overall shape of this is its defining features. Whereas like the details in the helmet are what draw attention to the helmet, and the overall shape of this is what really draws attention to this. So I'll do the convert. So I'll probably made up my mind just now. I will just rescale this and reprint it, but I'll reprint it at the end because I do want to get more pieces of the armor because I don't done. Just so I'm actively working on something. I will use, like I said, outside if there are a few errors because of the nozzle, but like right here on the chest plate, you can see how smooth that is, and then right here, even at 0.3 layer height, compared to the 0.2 that the helmet was printed on, like, that's not that big of a difference. So, I am going to print the rest of the pieces of the 0.3. This is going to significantly decrease my print time on all pieces. Hopefully, and I wasn't expecting it to be this thin, so this definitely, like this piece outside of the support material that required it, this piece itself would have probably required less material completed than the helmet took. So it's more, so I want to make, so I have one wheel of filament left right now. Hopefully it's not tangled. I might have to unravel it some just to double check. But I'll get everything fixed. I'll start printing off the other pieces of the armor. And then I still have to reprint some of the pieces for the helmet. So I'll get that done tomorrow. Not doing it today because tomorrow's the start of my day off. But I will have to go make up on time on Thursday night to make up for the 4 hours that I missed today. This morning, because I went home. So I'll have to make up the time, but tomorrow I'll have all of tomorrow off. Well, I go into work tonight and I get off at 8, and then I'll have the rest of the day off, and I won't have to go into work that night. So I'll get the rest of the printed. I'll print more of the Cortana chips. I'm gonna work on the Cortana chip instead of it looking like a cookie, because it only has detail on one side. I'm going to do a test print. I want to make it thinner, and then double layer it. I'm going to keep it the same width. Actually, I think I have more room to work with. I don't actually. So here's the piece for the chip. You see how thick these walls are. I already said I'm going to reprint this centerpiece at least. So, what I may end up doing is going into the model and making it thicker. The slot a little bit thicker. So I'm going to double layer this so I can embed a magnet in it so you can have the detail on both sides. And I'll also hand out these little wafer things for people because it'd be cool. But my chip, I want the detail on both sides. So I'll probably want to modify it, do the insert. Except I have room to make it thicker, so I might do that. And then I can have the double-sided chip, which would look a lot better. Not that this doesn't look good already, but yeah. It just wouldn't look like a cookie. So that'll be that. I'll have to reprint like the front piece here and this piece. These are the only two pieces I need to print. I might have to reprint one of these pieces because I accidentally knocked it off the table and I can't find it. Specifically this one. There's two of them, but I can't find the other one. So, because what happened, I stuck the helmet up here and then it fell off and then knocked a lot of shit off the table. Because I wanted it in the stream, but yeah. So, that's the plan for now. Like I said, I'm bummed out. Talking about it right now in this video is actually helping me get motivated again now that I've come up with a game plan on the fly. But right now I just feel like total shit, so I'm gonna eat food, go to sleep, and try not to die. So I'll do another video later. I might do another video once I get the print started and everything else, when I get my game plan. I'll do another video once that I got started working on that Bondo for that, because I'll be working on that tomorrow. Probably shouldn't work on it tomorrow because I've just been sick today. And that's a very chemically spell. There's a lot of chemical, but we'll see. We'll play it by ear. All right. So like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.